Hello and a warm welcome to this video. I hope all of you are doing well and you're taking care of yourself. So in this video, I'm going to take you through the entire CAT21 form. So this is going to be a very detailed video, step-by-step instructions as to how do you go about filling the form. And before we get there are some important things that you need to keep in mind. So let's have a look at those first. Now, the first thing is your important dates. So as you're aware, the CAT registration has already started. It started on the 4th August 21 at 10 o'clock. And this is going to continue till 15th September. The admit cards will be released on the 27th October. And as you're aware, the date is for the exam is going to be 28th of November. The result, as it has been the case over the last several years, will be declared in second week of Jan of next year. That is going to be Jan 22 is when the result will be tentatively released. Now, before you start filling the form, there are some very important documents that you need to keep handy so that you don't have to keep on doing to and fro with your form and your documents. So let's have a look at what these documents are. Now, the first thing that you will need is a photograph. And with respect to photograph, there are some important things. Number one is that it has to be a photograph that is not more than 6 months old. And there are some dimensions and size and format restrictions that you need to take care of. You can see those on screen that you will need a 30 by 45 photo with maximum file size of 1 MB, and the file format is also given on the screen. Now, ensure that the photograph that you upload in your CAT form is the same one that you also put on your admit card when you go for the CAT on the test date. Ensure that you have a lot of copies of that photograph so that you don't have to run behind it at the end. With respect to signature as well, there are some very important restrictions. Number one is that the maximum file size has to be 80 KB and the dimensions are 80 mm by 35 mm. And the file format is same as the format that you have for your photo, which is either a JPEG or a JPG format. Another very important thing that students miss out on is ensure that you are scanning your photo or signature or any document that you have to upload using a proper scanner, and don't rely on the mobile phone apps that you have, because sometimes these apps don't produce quality output. So ensure that you use a good scanner to scan the photograph as well as signature. There are some other documents that will be applicable, and let's have a look at those documents as well. So apart from the ones that we have already described, you will also need to have a category certificate if it is applicable, and a disability certificate again if it is applicable. Now, the prescribed format for uploading both your category certificate or disability certificate are available on the CAT website. We will also give links in the description from where you can access it, or you can just go to the CAT website where it is accessible. Another most important thing is your academic details. So before you start filling the form, ensure that you have all the mark sheets with you, because you'll have to enter these marks in the actual form. So you should ensure that you have your 10th, 12th, graduation. If you have done any masters or any professional qualification, then your mark sheets of those exams. Keep all of this handy before you start filling. Whatever GPA that you have, you will have to convert it to percentage. So when we actually go into form, I will of course talk about it a little more, but please ensure that you have your GPA or your marks, everything ready before you start filling the form. Work experience is another thing that you will have to fill. Please note that as per CAT specification, your full-time work experience after graduation until 31st July 21 will be calculated, which means that even if you're working right now, the work experience that you will submit is only going to be till 31st July. And lastly, have your net banking, credit card, debit card, all those details ready that you will need to make the final payment. Now, once you have collated all these documents, once you are ready to go, we can jump to the CAT form and then start filling it. So keep this ready. Let's go to the CAT form. So now we are on the main website of CAT21. Once you open the website, you will see some important dates on the left-hand side. And once you scroll down, you will see some important links. The first thing, of course, that you can go through is the CAT21 information bulletin, the CAT21 eligibility, and the selection process of IMS. In addition to this, you also have quick tour in the form of the registration guide and the registration video. If you want, you can go through this, but even if you don't go through it, it's okay, because we are going to cover it in depth in the video. The important thing, however, is the certificates. So ensure that you go through this if the category or the disability certificate is applicable to you. So they have given the format in which you are supposed to upload these documents. So please go through this if it is applicable to you. If it is not, you can decide to skip it. Now, what you need to do, of course, is the registration. So once you open the website for the first time and you are registering as a fresh candidate, you have to click on this first thing, which is new candidate registration. And once you've already registered and maybe you want to make some changes in your form and so on, that time you can use the second thing, which is registered candidate login. Now I'm registering for the first time, so I'm going to click on new candidate registration. So let's click on this and see what we get next. Now, once you click, of course, you will see this nice progress bar, and there are some things that it will show as pop-up. The first thing is the recommended browsers. So use Chromium or Firefox or Chrome. I think most of you would be using Chrome in any case, but just ensure that you're using the browsers that they have recommended and don't really use browsers such as Internet Explorer. Once you click on this, it will tell you why they're capturing the data in terms of the name and date of birth and mobile number and email address, and why it is, what is the purpose behind using this data. You can close this. And this is where you will start filling the actual form. So the first thing is go through all the notes that they have given here. I'll tell you the important ones, of course. The importance is that your user ID and password will be sent on the email address and the mobile number. Now ensure that you have the same email address and mobile number throughout. Okay, this should be the email address that you frequently use and the mobile number which is active. And please don't change it till the time your entire admission process gets over. So have one email address and one phone number that you're going to keep constant throughout this thing. Then ensure that you put your correct name, date of birth, mobile number, and email address, right? Your name is very important. And once you scroll down, you will see the name of candidate. That's the first field. And there is a small note that they have written, but a very important note is that it has to be entered the way it appears on your 10th or SSC certificate, and only alphabets are allowed. After this, you have the date of birth. So you have the calendar. You can click on this and select the date of birth. Your email address, you have to type the same email address again to confirm it. Then click on country, which is applicable, the mobile number, and confirm your mobile number. So the OTP will be sent to this particular mobile number that you enter. So put the number, as I said, which you have, which you often use. It's an active number. And please don't change your email ID and your mobile number throughout this entire period. So let me enter these details and I will see you on the next screen. So after completing the OTP process and the CAPTCHA verification, you will get the username and the password. In case you forget your username and password, you can always get it reset by entering the email address that you had used to register as a candidate. But try not to do that. I will rather recommend you write down the user ID and the password somewhere so that you can always use it. Once you log into your account, you will see the actual CAT form, which is divided in 6 areas. Number 1 is personal details, academics, work experience, programs, test city, and the final thing is payment. Now, in terms of personal details, you will have to enter, of course, the details that are applicable to you, such as your name, your surname or the first name, the father's or guardian's name, mother's guardian's name, and so on, and spouse name in case that is applicable. There'll be some other personal details as well that you'll have to fill, which are date of birth, your gender, nationality, and your category. Please ensure that you select the right category that is applicable to you. There's another question which is on, do you belong to person with disabilities category? Please again ensure that you enter the right information here. If you belong to a category, select yes. Otherwise, you are supposed to select no here. In terms of communication, they always ask you for the address. So you can enter your address line 1, 2, 3, and so on. All this is very standard that you will come across in any of the examination forms. You can enter the country, the state, district, town, and the PIN code. Post this, your primary email address, which you have already given, will be there. And you can enter an alternate email address if you want. And your mobile number will get auto-populated because you have already entered it. Let's scroll down to the bottom of the page and see what all other things we have. So now here you have an option to enter emergency contact details. So you can enter the mobile number. Before that, you can enter the code and the relationship with candidate. After this, you have the upload document section. So here, first of all, they have given some notes that you can go through. We have already seen this, but let's go through it once again. So they have mentioned that scanning of photograph, signature, and certificate should be done using a scanner only, something that we had already discussed. Please do not use a mobile phone or mobile applications to scan the photograph. So it has to be, first of all the certificates that we are supposed to upload have to be in the prescribed format and to be issued by the competent authority in Hindi or English language. The self-attested scanned copy of the certificate should be clearly visible, and your name on the certificate should match with the name you have mentioned during registration. So take care of all these things if you have to upload, let's say, a category certificate or the disability certificate. Now, the next thing that you have to enter is your photo and your signature. So they have given a photo specification and sample photos. So you can click here and go through it. But as we saw in the beginning, if you have that thing already ready with you, you can just click here to upload and upload your photograph and your signature. So let's click here and see what option we get. So once you click, you will get a pop-up like this, and it will ask you to upload the images. So there's one tab for photograph. So while you're uploading the photo, you have to use this. So you can click here and show the path and upload your photo. Do the same thing for your signature. And for photo and signature, we've already discussed the specifications that are required, but you can go through it once again if you want to. Make sure that you upload the right photograph and right signature. Do them at the correct place. Don't upload your photograph where you are supposed to upload your signature. So just be a little careful while you're filling the form. And then you have the scanned copy section of NCOBC, SC, ST, EWS certificate, whichever is applicable to you. Let's see what option we get once we click. It just shows you a simple drag and drop, or you can show the path and upload the document, but ensure that it is in the specified format. So let's complete this, and then we'll go to the next section and see what we have there. So now I'm on the academics tab, and this is where most of the students have queries, simply because different boards and universities have different ways of awarding their grades or GPA. If you have marks, there is no problem because you just have to take a total of all the marks of all the semesters or trimesters that you have and divide it by the maximum marks, and you are done. But in case you have GPA or grade, you have to use the conversion which is given by your own university or board. And this is something that you will see written in the note here, that in case of grades or GPA, the conversion to percentage will be based on the procedure as certified by the respective board, university, or the institution. Now, just in case your board, university, institution has not given a specific conversion formula, what you can do is you can take the GPA that you have obtained and divide it by the maximum possible GPA and multiply the result with 100. So let's say, for example, if your maximum GPA in whichever college or the place where you have studied, let's say the maximum GPA that they award is 10 and you have got 8. So what you can do is you can do 8 on 10 into 100. So that becomes 80%. So that is the equivalence. But you can do this only if your board or university has not specified a particular conversion formula. Now let's go through the fields that we have here. So we have firstly, of course, the SSC. So you have to select the board, the month, and the year of completion, the maximum marks, and here they have written inclusive of all subjects. So whether your school has given best of 5 or whatever it is, please don't do that. Whatever subjects appear on your scorecard or your mark sheet, you have to take all the subjects. So if it is 6 subjects and they are giving best of 5, you have to take all 6. Okay, so don't go with best of 5. Take all the 6 subjects that appear on your SSC certificate. If it is 6, if it is something else, please use that. All right. So maximum marks inclusive of all the subjects and the total marks obtained inclusive of all subjects. So you enter this, and the aggregate percentage is something that you have to enter here. Right. Now here again, they have given a note, and you can go through this to get further clarity on this particular thing. Same thing for HSC. You have to select now whether you have done your 12th or equivalent, or you have done a diploma. So a lot of students also do diploma after 10 standards. So if you have done that, you can select diploma or you select the 12th. Then the same thing, maximum marks inclusive of all subjects. So no best of something to be done. All the subjects that appear on your score sheet or your mark sheet must be entered here. So maximum marks, total marks obtained, and the aggregate percentage. Okay. Moving to bachelor's degree. So if you're a student in the final year of graduation, you can select yes, but if you're already graduated, you can say no. Then they will ask you, have you completed your bachelor's? So let's say if I'm a student in the final year, I will say, are you in the final year? Yes. Have you completed the bachelor's? Yeah. So that automatically becomes invalid. But if I've selected no here, that I'm not in the final year, it will ask me whether I've completed bachelor's degree. Let's say I select yes, and then it will ask me the relevant questions. So let's first see what all questions a student will get. So I'll say, are you in the final year? Yes. And it is asking you the total duration of the degree, whether it is 2 years, 3 years, and so on. The semester in which you are, the aggregate marks. And here you have to enter again whatever you have received so far. So if you just hover over that I button that you see there, it will show you enter aggregate marks obtained up to last received mark sheet. So all the mark sheets that you have received so far, whether you have a trimester system or a semester system, whatever you have obtained so far, you have to enter all the marks that are. So again, you follow the process that we discussed earlier of converting, let's say, your grade to percentage or GPA to percentage using the conversion formula that your college must have given to you. You can enter all the other details. I think those are pretty self-explanatory. So we'll not get into specifics of these, but you can enter all the information that you have, starting from the state, the university, the college, and the degree, and the discipline, right? So here, of course, they will have a lot of options. So you can select the one that is applicable to you. Then the month and year of course commencement, probable month or year of completion. And if you have or you are undergoing a dual or a 5-year integrated program, if it is applicable, select yes, otherwise select no. Okay. Now here, there is one more thing, that if you have a dual degree with both a bachelor's and master's, enter the details in the bachelor's and master's degree section. Okay, so what you can do is you can select master's and there you can enter your details if you have a dual degree program. If you have done more than one bachelor's, which is also an option given at a couple of places. So if you have done that, you can select that and then enter the details of that as well. I'm going to uncheck this for now and let's go ahead. On the master's degree, they have asked whether you want to enter master's degree or not. So if you select yes, you get the same things that you get for your graduation. And otherwise, I'm just going to select no because it is not applicable. And on the professional degree front, if you have any of this applicable to you, then you can select it. So let's say if you're a CA or a CS or an ICW, you can enter, let's say you select yes, it will ask you which degree it is and what is the degree completion status. So if you are undergoing through the program, you can select, for example, CA, and you can select in progress, and it will ask you for the relevant information. Or if you're, let's say, already completed it, you can enter all the required details. Ensure that you finish this entire thing very carefully. This is one area where most of the students make mistake. So before you convert your grade to percentage or your GPA to percentage, please see whether your university or college have they given a conversion. If they have not, you can get in touch with them and try to get the conversion formula. So as long as you have a proof that, okay, this is the conversion formula, you can go ahead and use it. But in case the college says that, okay, there is no conversion, then you can continue with this particular rationale that the form has given to you. So finish these details and let's go to the next part, which is work experience. So now we are on the next section, which is work experience. In work experience, let's go through the notes that are there. Enter your work ex as on July 31st. This is something that we saw in the beginning of the video as well. Only full-time experience after graduation must be entered. So all the things such as your part-time work ex or project or internship, articleship, any pre-graduation work ex should not be entered and will not be considered as work experience. And at the bottom, you have to enter the date on which you started the job. And let's say if you have quit that job at some point of time, you can enter the end date. Or if you're still employed, you can enter the work experience as on July 31st. So let's do a trial here. Let's say if I select automobile and let's select some particular date. Let's say I've selected 1st Jan. And let me also try and enter some sort of end date. But see, if you're already employed, you can't enter a future date. Okay, so it is capping it at 31st July. So that's the maximum that you can enter. So if you're already employed, you can select 31st July. If you have, let's say, left your job, let's say you have left your job in the month of May, you can select that and it will auto calculate as to how many days you have worked for. So you don't have to enter it on your own. So just enter the start date of your workx and the end date. And if you're already employed and while you're filling the form, you are employed, you can just select the end date, which is 31st of July. Okay. So let me select that 31st July. We can't go further than that. So that is the maximum that you will be able to put. So let's enter it here and it has calculated the days. And if you have worked in multiple industries, you can select those that are applicable. So let's say you worked in automobiles for some time. Prior to that, you were working in engineering or industrial. You can select that and enter the appropriate data. If it is not applicable to, let's say you have not worked anywhere, right? Then you don't have to enter anything. Okay, so you don't have to enter anything on this particular tab that you see if you don't have work experience. So we'll click on save and continue and we'll go to the next tab. So now we are halfway done and we are on the programs tab. And here you're going to make selection in terms of what all programs you want to apply to. So first of all, you can select all the programs if you want. So there's no cap on the number of programs that you can apply to. So if you don't want to think too much, you can simply click on select all. But also understand that you have to select the interview city. So that is a preference that you have to give while filling the form right now. So for example, for I am Ahmedabad, let's say you can give Ahmedabad as the interview city preference if that is the nearest to you, or maybe Bangalore, for example. So here, give the city preference which is nearest to you, geography-wise or travel-wise, whichever is going to be easier. That should be the first preference, followed by the second preference. Some of them will ask you for two preferences. Some of them will just give you one singular option. Now here you might not be eligible for certain programs. So in case I'm repeating this, the safest option is select all, which ensures that you have applied to everything that is out there. But if you want to be a little selective because you might not be eligible for some programs, let's say for example, PhD, you don't want to apply for a PhD program. You are a bachelor student. For PhD, you need to have masters and you're not eligible for it, right? In such a case, you can decide to skip those things. But if you don't want to take that effort, I think the simplest thing would be to simply do select all, ensures that everything you are applying to. All right. Please give interview city preference. So whatever you have selected, you'll have to give interview city preferences. Otherwise, the form will not move to the next one, right? So complete this section. Once you have completed this section, so it's going to be a very long list because there are so many IMs and you have a lot of programs. So it's going to be a very long list if you do the select all. And that is why I said, if you want, you can always be a little selective, but don't try to do things such as I will apply only to IIM ABC, or I'll apply to only, let's say, IIM Lucknow, or only IIM Indore. Please don't do that. At least apply to all the IIM PGP programs or the MBA programs that are there. So apply for more colleges, keep that buffer rather than being very, very selective at this point of time. Once you have completed this, you can click on save and continue and move to the next thing. So let's do that and I will see you on the next tab. And now we are on to another important thing, which is the test city. So this preference is very, very important. Please go through all the preferences that are available and select the ones that will be most convenient for you to travel in the current situation. So the CAT form asks you for 6 preferences and you can give the preferences depending on the geographical distance or the travel convenience, whichever the case may be. So I can select, for example, let's say if for me, the most convenient thing is Bhopal. That is the first preference that I will give. After which, let's say for me, Amritsar is going to be convenient. I'll select that as the preference. So go through all the cities, right? Don't miss out on any particular thing. A lot of times it happens that students miss out on some options and they end up giving preference which they don't want to in the beginning. So understand that preferred city 1 has to be the one that you will find most convenient to reach to, or the city where you reside, because that will be the easiest to access. So enter all the preferences. You have to mandatorily give 6 preferences, by the way. So select this, and once you're done, you can do save and continue and move to the last thing, which is payment. So that brings us to the end of this entire form filling exercise. We are on the payment tab now. And here, the first thing that you will see is the candidate name, followed by the applicable registration fee. So depending on which category you are from, and the selection that you have made in the personal details, whether it is general or SC/ST and so on, it will show you the applicable registration fee. Post this, you have the payment details and the payment mode and so on. So you can complete the standard payment process that you would do when you're doing any sort of online shopping, the same process. But before you click on declaration, very important thing is to cross-check your form at least once or twice with all the documents that you have, your SSC, HSC, graduation, WorkX, your category, your disability certificates, everything that is out there, your photo and signature as well. Please check those very thoroughly before you do the final submit, because we've observed this a lot, that students in a hurry, they submit the form, they make the payment, and afterwards they realize that they've made a mistake. In such cases, there's no other option, but you have to use another email ID and another mobile number and create a fresh account. And that is just too much of hassle. So to avoid these things, there's no hurry, first of all. So go through the form very carefully, very nicely, take your own time, go through everything that you've written on the form, cross-check it once, and then only once you're satisfied that, okay, I've entered everything correctly, click on final submit and you're done. So once you're done with the submission, you'll get a success message and you're done with the CAT application. And then the only thing that remains is, of course, focusing on your preparation for the remaining months and giving your best shot. I hope this video has helped and you have got answers to most of your queries. But in case your query has not been answered through this video, please leave a comment in the comment section and we'll try to reply at the earliest. In the description, you will find a lot of useful links. You can go through them. There is a detailed form filling guide. It's a document. In case you want, you can go through that as well, which will take you through all the steps that we have discussed in the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already. And we hope to bring more content to you guys, which will help you to prepare for CAT 21 in a better manner. So stay tuned for all the updates by subscribing to the channel and share this video with your friends who might benefit from this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.